The Nets take on the Cavaliers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Cleveland. We currently have on our hands a pick'em contest with a total at 217.5. Now, Brooklyn did open up as the favorite in this matchup here. We did see a 1-point fade of Brooklyn in the early wagering. We also saw a little bit of movement upward on the total as well. Once again, Brooklyn opened -1 down to a pick'em contest. Total opened 217. Up to 217.5. Right now, 86% of the consensus is leaning toward Brooklyn. 88% shaded toward the under. And right now, the Cavaliers are -105 on the money line. Now, Cleveland has dropped 6 out of their last 7 games. They rank in the bottom 3 in scoring on average per game, bottom 3 in offensive field goal percentage. Kevin Love is listed as questionable for tonight's action. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, on the other side, they've been winners in 4 out of their last 5. Once again, Brooklyn, 4-1 straight up in their last 5. They're covering 60% of their games in their last 10. The Nets rank in the top 10 in scoring, top 5 in offensive rebounding. Spencer Dinwiddie, he's averaging 29 points a game, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Joe Harris is averaging 13 points a game, 4 rebounds as well. The Nets rank in the top 10 in defensive field goal percentage, top 3 in offensive rebounding on the road. Durant, LeVert, and Irving are all listed as out for the Nets. Now, total-wise, Cleveland is 3-1 to the over in their last 4. I'm going to lean Brooklyn getting the job done in the pick'em contest in the over 217.5 in that game. Next matchup, Magic taking on the Pistons, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Detroit. The Pistons are -4.5, totals 207 and a hook. We saw a half a point fade of Detroit and movement upward on the total. The Pistons open -5, down to -4.5. Total open 207, up to 207 and a hook. 57% of the consensus are leaning toward Orlando, 74% shaded toward the over. And right now, the Magic are +160 on the money line. Orlando's won 3 out of their Orlando's won 4 out of their last 7 games, 4-3 straight up in their last 7. They rank in the top 3 in points allowed, top 10 in defensive rebounding on the road. Evan Fournier, 18 points a game, 3 rebounds, 4 assists for him. John Isaac, 13 points a game, 7 rebounds. Isaac's also averaging 3 blocks per game. Now, Gordon, Carter Williams, and Vucevic are all out for Orlando. Meanwhile, Detroit on the other side really struggling as of late. They dropped 6 out of their last 7 games. They're also just 2-7 against the spread in their last 9. Jackson is still out indefinitely. Griffin and Snell are listed as questionable. Detroit ranks at the bottom 10 in scoring on average per game. They're also bottom 3 in offensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Detroit 5-3 to the over in their last 8. Meanwhile, 6 out of Orlando's last 6 games got over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me the Magic +4.5 and the over 207.5 in that game. Next matchup, Grizzlies taking on the Pacers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off, Indiana. The Pacers are the 9-point favorite, totals 216.5. Now, we saw a 1-point move toward Indiana and movement downward on the total. The Pacers open 8, up to -9, total open 217, down to 216.5. 66% are leaning Grizzlies, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, Memphis is +350 on the money line. Memphis is just 5-10 straight up overall for the year, 6-9 against the spread. They rank in the bottom 3 in points allowed, bottom 10 in field goal percentage. Guduric is questionable. Iguodala is out. The Pacers, on the other side, winners in 6 out of their last 8. They're in second place in the Central Division, top 5 in points allowed, top 10 in offensive rebounding. Malcolm Brogdon's averaging 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. Domantas Sabonis, 19 points a game, 13 rebounds, 4 assists for him. The Pacers rank in the top 10 in points allowed at home, top 10 in home defensive field goal percentage. Jakar Sampson is doubtful for tonight's action. Indiana's 4-1 to the under in their last 5. Meanwhile, 5 out of their last 8 stayed under the total at home. Now, Memphis on the other side, 4 out of their last 6 stayed under the line themselves. They're also 60% to the under when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the home chalk in this one. Give me the Pacers -9 and the under 216.5 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Monday's NBA action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are currently 65% for the entire college football season on that website. I'll give you more details about that site at the end of the show. You can check out my current record for Patreon for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some more free lines of personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Kings taking on the Celtics. And that'll be a 7:30 Eastern tip-off in Boston. Now, the Kings, no surprises here. They're the dogs on the road here. Boston's -7.5, total 213. We saw a half a point fade of Boston and movement upward on the total. The Celtics open -8, down to -7.5. Total open 212.5, up to 213. 68% are leaning Boston, and at the moment, Sacramento's plus 285 on the money line. Now, the Kings have successfully covered the number in 9 out of their last 10. They're also 5-3 against the spread on the road. They're ranking the top 10 in three-point percentage, top 5 in defensive rebounding. Buddy Hield's averaging 19 points a game, 4 rebounds. Harrison Barnes, 16 points a game, 5 rebounds for him. Fox and Bagley are out. Now, Boston on the other side, losers in 3 out of their last 4. They also rank in the bottom 10 in field goal percentage, bottom 3 in defensive rebounding. Hayward's still out. Kemba Walker listed as doubtful. And when it comes to this total, Boston 60% to the over at home. I'm going to lean Sacramento plus 7.5 and the over 213 in that game. Next matchup, Minnesota taking on the Hawks. 7:30 Eastern tip-off in Atlanta. The T-Wolves are -4 on the road, totals 235. Saw a half a point fade of Minnesota and movement downward on the total. The Timberwolves open 4.5, down to -4. Total open 236, down to 235. 61% are leaning Minnesota, 67% shaded toward the over. Right now the Hawks are plus 150 on the money line. Atlanta's lost their last 6 straight. They're also just 1-9 straight up in their last 10. They're in last place in the Southeast Division, 7.5 games back of the division lead. They failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10. They're just 2-6 straight up at home. They rank in the bottom 3 in offensive rebounding, bottom 5 in points allowed. Collins and Herter are still out. Now, Minnesota on the other side, they've covered the number in 4 out of their last 8. They're also 5-2 against the spread away from home. They rank in the top 3 in road scoring, top 10 in road offensive rebounding. Karl Anthony Towns, he's averaging 26 points a game, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. Andrew Wiggins, 25 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for him. Minnesota's top 3 in offensive rebounding, top 10 in defensive field goal percentage on the road. Napier and Layman are out. Graham and Okogie are listed as questionable as well. Now, total-wise, Minnesota 4-0 to the under in their last 4. Atlanta 5-3 to the under at home. I'm going to lean Minnesota -4 and the under 235 in that game. Next matchup, Charlotte taking on the Heat, 7:30 Eastern tip-off in Miami. The Heat are -10.5, total 215. Saw a half a point move toward Miami and movement downward on the total. The Heat opened 10, up to -10.5. Total open 217, down to 215. 63% are leaning Miami, 70% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Hornets are plus 470 on the money line. Now, Charlotte's just 6-11 overall for the year. They failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. They're just 3-6 straight up away from home, bottom 5 in scoring, bottom 3 in offensive rebounding. Now, Miami on the other side, they've been winners in 5 out of their last 6. They're also 12-3 against the spread overall for the year. They rank at the top 3 in offensive field goal percentage, top 3 in defensive rebounding. Jimmy Butler's averaging 19 points a game, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Jimmy Butler's also averaging 3 steals a game. Kendrick Nunn, 17 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists for him. Miami ranks at the top 10 in points allowed, top 10 in home scoring. Waiters, Winslow, and Jones are out. Total-wise, the Heat, 2-1 to the over in their last 3. 3 out of Charlotte's last 4 got over the total as well. I'm going to lean Miami -10.5 and the over 215 in that game. Next matchup, Sixers, Raptors, 7:30 Toronto. The Sixers are -1 on the road, totals 214. We did see a flip of the lines in this one. Philly did open up as the 2-point dog. We also saw a 2-point move downward on the total as well. The Sixers open +2, now -1. Total open 216, down to 214. 52% are leaning Sixers, 76% shaded toward the over. Right now, Toronto's +102 on the money line. Toronto's right in the middle of a 3-game winning streak. They're also 7-2 straight up in their last 9. They're tied for first place in the Atlantic Division, 11-4 overall for the year. They're also undefeated at home at 6-0. Pascal Siakam's averaging 26 points a game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Freddie VanVleet, 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 blocks. Now, total-wise, Toronto ranks top 10 in scoring, top 3 in three-point percentage, top 10 in points allowed at home. Lowry, Ibaka, and McCall are out. Now, Philadelphia, on the other side, they failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8. They also rank in the bottom 10 in defensive field goal percentage on the road. They're just 4-5 against the spread when traveling. Total-wise, Philly 5-4 to the over on the road. Toronto 5-1 to the over in the friendly confines. I'm going to lean toward the home dog in this one. Give me the Raptors +1 and the over 214 in that game. Next matchup, Blazers taking on the Bulls. That's going to be an 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Chicago. Portland's -1, total 226. Not a whole lot of movement on this spread. We did see movement downward on the total. Once again, Portland's -1, total open 227, down to 226. 66% are leaning Portland, 64% shaded toward the over. Right now, Chicago's +102 on the money line. Chicago's 1-2 out of their last 3. They also rank in the top 10 in defensive three-point percentage. Once again, top 10 in defensive three-point percentage. Zach LaVine's averaging 21 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Kobe White's averaging 14 points a game, 4 rebounds as well. And Lauri Markkanen, 14 points a game, 8 rebounds for him. Now, Portland's lost their last 4 straight. They've also dropped 6 out of their last 7 games. They're just 4-8 straight up on the road. Bottom 10 in field goal percentage. Bottom 3 in defensive rebounding. Collins and Nurkic are still out. Whiteside and Trent are questionable. Total-wise, Portland 2-1 to the under in their last 3. Chicago 2-2 to the under in their last 4. I'm going to lean toward the home dog in this one. Give me Chicago +1 and the under 226 in that game. Next matchup, Jazz, Bucks, 8 o'clock Milwaukee. The Bucks are -5, totals 218.5. We saw a half a point fade of Milwaukee and movement upward on the total. The Bucks open 5.5, down to -5. Total open 218, up to 218 and a hook. Right now, the Jazz are +190 on the money line. Utah's failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7 away from home. They rank in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 10 in road offensive rebounding. Rudy Gobert is listed as questionable for tonight's action. The Bucks on the other side, 5-1 straight up at home, 7-0 straight up in their last 7. Nice little win streak for them. They rank in the top 3 in scoring on average per game, top 3 in offensive rebounding. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 30 points a game, 14 rebounds, 2 steals. Eric Bledsoe, 18 points a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for him. The Bucks rank in the top 5 in offensive field goal percentage, top 3 in defensive field goal percentage. Chris Middleton is still out indefinitely. Ersan Ilyasova listed as questionable. Now, total-wise, Milwaukee, 2 out of their last 3 got over the total. They're also 67% to the over at home. Meanwhile, the Jazz on the other side, 2-0 to the over in their last couple of games. I'm going to lean Milwaukee Bucks -5 and the over 218.5 in that matchup. Next game, Lakers, Spurs, 8:30 San Antonio. The Lakers are -5, total 223. We saw a half a point fade of the Lakers and movement downward on the total. Los Angeles open 5.5, down to -5. Total open 224, down to 223. 72% are leaning Lakers, 63% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Spurs are +180 on the money line. The Spurs are also just 6-11 straight up overall for the year, 4-13 against the spread. So that's right, out of 17 games total, they failed to cover in 13 of them. Once again, 4-13 against the spread overall for the year. Bottom 10 in points allowed, bottom 5 in defensive field goal percentage. The Spurs have failed to cover in 7 out of their last 8 at home. Now, the Lakers on the other side, they're 6-1 straight up on the road. They have the best record in the NBA at 14-2. They rank in the top 3 in offensive field goal percentage. Now, Anthony Davis has been upgraded to probable for tonight's action, so we should see him at least in limited action. He's averaging 26 points a game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. LeBron's averaging 25 a game, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. The Lakers rank in the top 5 in points allowed, top 5 in defensive rebounding. And when it comes to this total, the Lakers are 3-1 to the over in their last 4. 4-3 to the over when traveling. The Spurs on the other side, 11-6 to the over on the year. 6-2 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean Lakers -5 in the over 223 in that game. And of course, I'm going to slide in my next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Thunder Warriors 10:30 Golden State. OKC's -5 on the road, totals 215.5. 53% are leaning OKC, 78% shaded toward the over. Right now, Golden State is +175 on the money line. Golden State's also just 3-14 straight up on the year. They're 7-10 against the spread in those 17 games. They rank at the bottom 5 in field goal percentage, bottom 10 in offensive rebounding. They've dropped 9 out of their last 10 games. OKC, on the other side, successfully covered the number in 5 out of their last 6. They're also covering 70% of their games in their last 10. They rank in the top 10 in points allowed on the road, top 10 in defensive three-point percentage on the road. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's averaging 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And Danilo Gallinari, 19 points a game, 5 rebounds for him. Total-wise, OKC 6-2 to the over in their last 8. Golden State 2-0 to the over in their last couple of games themselves. I'm going to lean OKC -5 in the over 215.5 in that game. And of course, we're going to slide into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. I like OKC -5 over 215.5. Lakers -5 over 223. Milwaukee -5 over 218.5. Chicago +1 under 226. Sacramento +7.5 over 213. Toronto +1 over 214. Minnesota -4 under 235. Miami -10.5 over 215. Orlando +4.5 over 207 and a hook. Indiana -9 under 216 and a hook. And last but certainly not least, I like Brooklyn winning it outright in the Pick'em contest in the over 217.5 in that game. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are currently connecting on 65% of our picks for the entire college football season. We do daily plays on that website beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. Now, a lot of folks are asking me, what's the difference between your Patreon page and what you do here on YouTube? Well, what we do here on the tube is we handicap every single game on the slate, both the side and the total. And of course, if you were to bet your hard-earned money on every single game, side and total, you're guaranteed to lose in the long run. You might even lose in the short run. The books are too smart, they're too good, and the math is always against you. So what we do on Patreon is we really focus in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage selections, and they're games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current record on Patreon is a lot better than it is handicapping every single game, side and total, on YouTube. And you can check out my current record for free. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I do have to thank you for tuning in right here on YouTube. And now's the time where I slide into my quick pick recap in Spanish, also known as my edición en español. Yo tengo OKC con puntos y las altas, Lakers con puntos y las altas, Milwaukee con puntos y las altas, Chicago con puntos y los bajos, Sacramento con puntos y las altas, Toronto con puntos y las altas, Minnesota con puntos y los bajos, Miami con puntos y las altas, Orlando con puntos y las altas, Indiana con puntos y los bajos, y final, Brooklyn ganar y las altas. All right, guys, I got to thank you for tuning in right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you, and I look forward to seeing you on patreon.com/BrockPage.